Hello, brothers and sisters, and welcome to the TJ Ritchie Show. I am your host, TJ, the realist Ritchie, a.k.a. the Green-Eyed Patriot. Thank you so much for checking out the podcast. I know it's a little different because I'm not doing this on the radio for this episode because I got preempted on WBT by some sort of a basketball game or something. Okay, so this is I got to get the truth out there. I got to get all the information out there because it's that important. Basketball game, be damned. I'm going to get you the information. Well, look at this. Isn't this something? The NAACP's Virginia chapter has endorsed the white woman in the governor's race, Abigail Spanberger. The NAACP of Virginia has endorsed her. You go, well, what's that? What's that all about? I mean, big deal. Well, big deal is that her opponent is a black lady named Winsome Sears, and she's fantastic. She's a Marine. She is brilliant. She's the lieutenant governor of Virginia at the moment, and so she is the better candidate by far. But it just goes to prove that it doesn't matter. All of this, they can talk all this crap they want to about the advancement of black people and especially black women, because black women are more marginalized than even black men are, and we've got to support our people and so forth and so on. That's a bunch of crap. When it comes down to it, it doesn't matter. The color of the skin doesn't matter. It only matters if you are a liberal Democrat. And it's even worse for conservative Republicans like Lieutenant Governor Sears. I tell you all the time how ruthlessly racist Democrats get when there is a black conservative. They treat them horribly. So you see, the NAACP is just a bunch of liars. They don't care about black people. They care about the Democrat Party. Like I always say, they will gladly do whatever these racist Democrat Party bosses want them to do. And it's a shame. You run around pretending like you champion black people, and you don't. When it comes down to it, you champion whoever the Democrat Party bosses tell you to champion. You're just pathetic. So pathetic. This says the NAACP has officially endorsed Abigail Spanberger. Oh, remember, Abigail Spanberger is the candidate that wouldn't ask the AG candidate to step down after he said that he wished the former Speaker of the House, who's a Republican, wished he could put a bullet in his head and wanted his children to die in their mother's arms. You remember all that? So she wouldn't say, I think he should step down and not run. She just said, I condemn what he said, and that was wrong. So then, he's paid for that. He apologized, and we do things in our past, and we're, just like they would be if a Republican had done something like that. These people make me sick. They make me sick. She's shady. Well, obviously she's shady if she's a Democrat. This says, many assumed the organization would back Winsome Sears. No, I didn't. I knew they wouldn't. You know why? Because she stands for being independent and strong and reaching individual greatness. The NAACP doesn't want that. The NAACP wants to keep black people all up in arms all the time. And that way they can continue to have power over them. You see, it's not just the racist white Democrats who lord over black people in the United States. These are the ones that are the most sickening, are the ones who are claiming to be, the champion of black people. Like, we're fighting for you. We're fighting for us. We're fighting for us. Us, hell. Abigail Spanberger couldn't be more white. This is the female Casper the Ghost. I'm talking about, this woman is white. White. And the NAACP says she's our girl. Look at her. Look at little Miss Whitey. She's the one for us. Just absolutely no shame. It says some people are applauding the endorsement. Of course they are. The sickos. And you know who else I bet wasn't surprised by this? Lieutenant Governor Sears. Black conservatives have to deal with so much grief from Democrats, white and black Democrats. You see, because the white Democrats, the Democrat Party, they feel like they have jurisdiction over black people. Remember, we went through this the other night, bringing back up Biden saying, if you don't know whether you're voting for me or him, then you ain't black. You ain't black. I mean, I shake my head because it's ridiculous. And you know, NAACP stands for National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. And Rush Limbaugh used to say he called them the NAALCP, the National Association for the Advancement of Liberal Colored People. And he's exactly right. You see, to the people who run around trying to make victims out of everybody, the NAACP, they don't care about black people. They don't care. I mean, look, if they'll pick Mighty Whitey Spanberger over a tough, educated, brilliant, established military veteran like Winsome Sears, you see, that's the problem. You get somebody who's but she's actually the first a black woman to be elected to a state office in Virginia. You would think that the NAACP would go, why stop there? Let's make her the first black woman governor. I mean, if they really stood by the kind of stuff that they claim, but they don't. You see, they don't like the Winsome Sears of the world, because the Winsome Sears of the world, guess what they don't need? The NAACP and groups like them. That's what I'm talking about. Individual greatness. They reach individual greatness. And that is kryptonite to the Democrat Party in general, but especially these groups who have their power only by keeping black people down, like the NAACP. So yeah, Winsome Sears to them is the enemy. You know, she stepped away from her people just because she said, hey, I've got the guts to say that what the Democrats do is wrong, and I'm going to agree with the Republicans, and that's the way I want to live my life. How dare she? Doesn't she know she belongs to the Democrat Party? The NAACP does. They belong to the Democrat Party. It's just crazy ass stuff. But we're going to call it out here. You know why? Because I'm the realist. That's why. I'm a realist, bringing the truth. All right, we're going to take a break, and then I've got some information that was just released about the front runner for the Democrat nomination for president. This is fantastic. It is awesome. We'll get to that next. Hang on. Hey, welcome back to the TJ Ritchie Show. I'm the green-eyed patriot, TJ the realist Ritchie. Podcast only today because there's a basketball game on the radio. They kicked me off of the radio to play a basketball game on there. Whatever. All right, I knew the deal when I signed up for it. Okay, big stuff coming out of the Democrat Party. Now, you know, all of these Democrats have just gone crazy, and there aren't any normal Democrats anymore, if there ever were any. You know, they're all nuts, just completely nuts, every one of them. Every professional Democrat is a nut and shady and corrupt. I'm going to say that. And remember, professional Democrat is anyone who makes a living because they are a Democrat. You know, their livelihood depends upon their being a Democrat. All right. So they always do this where, you know, New Hampshire is always the first primary they have. And they have done the surveys and polls and whatever else. And the number one poll in the polls, the number one candidate for the Democrat nomination for president right now is Pete Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg. This goes along with what I was saying last night. If you didn't hear last night's show, make sure you go get the podcast of that, because it was fire, as the kids say. Where the Democrat Party is going to run nothing but quote unquote marginalized people, and they're going to play the emotional card on everybody. Like Zohran Mamdani in New York is running on the fact that he is mistreated in New York because he's a Muslim. AOC is going to run on a platform, because she will run for senator and president someday, maybe president before she runs for senator, and she would have a chance at it. So don't sell her short. But yeah, running on the emotions of people who are mistreated and marginalized in society. So Pete Buttigieg, being a gay, does he gay? He does. And being that Pete Buttigieg is only in the position that he is in today because he is the gay, he is the front runner for president. Yes. He was the mayor of South Bend, Indiana. He went to a liberal festival of some sort. I don't remember the name of the festival. They have it every year in Austin, which is ultra liberal. As a matter of fact, Texas should kick Austin out of the state. Get them out of the state. They're disgusting. He was on a panel or something. He spoke at that, and all of those dirty liberals that were at that conference thought he was great. Mayor Pete, Mayor Pete, Mayor Pete. So that's how he got attention to begin with, by being the gay mayor, the gayer, if you will, of South Bend, Indiana. So he didn't do a particularly good job as mayor either, as the gayer of South Bend. South Bend's a small town, and he wasn't a good mayor. So all of the political hard hitters from behind the scenes and all got behind him, and we're going to make you a candidate. You run for president. And so as mayor of South Bend, Indiana, he ran in the primaries against Biden and Harris and what other freaks they put out there, Bernie, in that primary. And then he became, on the national scene. He didn't garner much support in the primary, and Biden promised him a job in his cabinet. If I get elected, you step out of the race, give me your endorsement, and then if I get elected president, I'll give you a job in my cabinet, which he did. Transportation secretary. And he screwed that up. He also took, 12 weeks? Something like that, of paternity leave. Because he and his husband adopted a kid or two kids or something, and he took paternity leave. First of all, paternity leave shouldn't even be called paternity leave. It should be, hey, his wife had a baby, he's going to be off for a couple of days. That should be it. But those days that the husband, the father, takes off is to help his wife, who just did what? Went through childbirth and is coming out of the hospital. He's helping to get her home, get her settled, take care of her, help her because she is recovering physically. There's no helping a gay dad who just adopted. There's no physical strain or anything. Now I get it. You want to be there to bond with the baby and all of that. Well, that's what you do after work. Millions of dads have done it. Millions upon millions of dads. But when you work for the government, then you can just take off. I'm serious. I don't even remember, but I know it was a considerable amount of time. So he was a terrible transportation secretary. He's only where he is because he's gay, and the Democrats like pushing the marginalized people out there because it doesn't matter to them. They don't care about the merit. They never have, whether somebody's actually competent or not. So down the other list of these clowns. So it says that Pete Buttigieg is the early presidential frontrunner in New Hampshire, topping Governor Gavin Newsom. Governor Newsom, let me tell you, that's a bunch of bullshit right there. I was poor growing up. Yeah, man, I'm stacking the Wonder Bread and macaroni and cheese. And yeah, we had it hard. My mom, I basically raised myself. And that's no joke. That is no joke, literally. His dad was one of the main attorneys for a billionaire family. And I believe he might have even been a judge at some point. But anyway, he wasn't poor growing up. He wasn't at home making wish sandwiches. You know what that is? A wish sandwich is when you got two pieces of bread and wish you had some meat to go in it. That was, I'm just a hustle, man. Just a hustle. I think it's a pretty good Gavin Newsom impression. I don't care what you say. I don't even care. Let's see. So he got 19% support. His closest opponent was Newsom, he was 4 percentage points back. And the other double digits were Sandy Cortez and Kamala Harris. I don't even know why they're testing Bernie's numbers, because Bernie's not going to run. Nope. He's got too much responsibility running the Democrat Party from behind the scenes. For the Democrat Party, he's been running because he's an old communist. J.B. Pritzker got 6% backing from this poll. It says here that the the people in New Hampshire are scared of J.B. Pritzker, especially around lunchtime. So it doesn't matter to the Democrats who the president is or who their candidate is. They do not care. They don't pick their candidates because of their merit. They don't pick them because they're smart or they have good ideas or any of that. They tell them their ideas. The Democrat Party tells the presidential candidates what their ideas are going to be. And I'm going to get more into this because some more news broke today about this auto pen situation with Biden and the auto pen. It's not good. It is not good, but we can connect how the Democrat Party doesn't give a damn about your qualifications. The only thing important to them is your marginalized group to which you belong. Okay, so we'll break all of that down and give you the latest on the auto pen news coming up next. Hang on. All right, welcome back to the TJ Ritchie Show. We are rocking at the speed of light. I'm the truth sayer, TJ the realist Ritchie. Look, I know I said we're going to get to the auto pen situation and all. I said that we were going to do that next. Well, we're going to do it in just a second. I got something else that I want to play for you because I realize we haven't done any sound bites yet tonight. We haven't done any audio clips. So we'll do that. Then we'll get, this is going to be a longer segment. I don't know why I was just making the segments 10 minutes each, so I can go a little longer than that. No, but that's not your concern. I shouldn't even be telling you that. You just listen. You sit there and relax and listen. I'll do all of the informing and entertaining and everything. I don't know why I'm telling you behind the scenes stuff. You don't even need to know. All right, so here we go. That November date is coming up. Today is the 29th. So we got the 30th and the 31st. Happy Halloween. And then November 1st is when those food stamps and EBT and stuff starts getting cut because of the government shutdown. I don't know why more Republicans aren't out. I know they're out talking about what the Democrats are up to and how they're holding people hostage and all that. But I think they need to address, hey, listen, if you're upset because you're about to lose your benefits, blame the Democrats. Because we, as the Republicans, wanted to keep things the way they are. The Democrats rejected that, and they want all of these things. They want your money that you would be getting to feed your children. They want that money to go into some Tanzania or somewhere to circumcise people, which is one of the things that was uncovered that the Republicans took out of the budget back during the Doge stuff. So tell them they want to fund illegal aliens instead of letting you have your benefits that you're accustomed to having. Republicans ought to be doing that, but they're not. Not that I've seen. And because they're not doing that, then they're going to end up getting blamed by all of the people who feed off the government the way they do. Okay, so this guy makes a pretty good point about when people are losing their EBT, food stamps, all that stuff. This is one of the things that's going to happen. Listen.
Bro is waiting in the dispensary parking lot, asking people if they have any spare roaches. I don't think y'all understand. The crash out levels is about to go through the roof. No food stamps equals no to less weed money. Like, y'all about to have people out here hangry and sober. That's a diabolical combination. Because the food money got to come out of some budget, and that's the first one it usually comes from. All I'm saying is just be nicer to people in these coming days, because that blunt and those snacks may have been the only thing stopping your coworker from putting you first in line for a meet and greet with God Almighty.
Okay, so a little tongue in cheek there, but makes a good point. The Republicans should capitalize on that and say, hey, you can't get your weed because you're having to feed your children. Blame the Democrats. I mean, is this even America anymore, where you can't get thousands of dollars a month taken from taxpayers and given to you because, and you didn't earn it, so you would have extra money to go buy weed all the time and you smoke every day? Is that not possible in today's America? That's not the America that I know and love. Oh. See, that's why I think if you're getting government subsidies, you're getting welfare, food stamps, all that stuff, there should be a constant monitoring of you to make sure that you're not wasting things. And if you are an absentee father, not taking care of your responsibilities and paying your child support, then you ought to be followed around by the government every day. And as soon as you go to buy anything that's a luxury, I don't care if you're going in to buy a Gatorade Zero, that's not necessary for your well-being. They should say, no, you can't buy that. You got money for Gatorade, you got money to give to your kids and give money back to the taxpayers. You think you got money for weed? No, you don't have money for weed. You better be over there feeding those children. That's what you need to be doing. I heard a woman the other day say, it was an African American lady who was making a video about the EBT benefits and all that going away. And she was in the bed. Of course, that's a very popular shot for these social media videos, in the bed. She's in the bed, but she's all completely face full of makeup, looking her best. And she was making the point that, these men laughing about the women losing their food stamps and stuff. She said, y'all need to stop laughing, because now you're going to have to pay for your kids. Now you're going to have to, like, this was just like some sort of phenomenon, Yeah, keep laughing because you're going to have to pay for. And then she's saying this like they shouldn't be the first in line, the first to be paying for their kids. It's like, all this failed, these other things go away, then you're going to have to step up. No, he should have stepped up first before the government had to even be involved. And then, I'll probably play this clip on the radio. I'm not on tomorrow night, but maybe I'll play it on the podcast tomorrow. I'll do a podcast tomorrow. But so she went on to say, better yet, you come take these kids. You come get your kids. That way we can live our best life. You hear me? Does that sound like a loving mother? Somebody who really cares about her kids? Hell no, it doesn't. You come take these kids so we can live our best life. Shut the hell up. Why are you having these kids if you don't want them? Why did you have all these kids if it's not your best life? What does living your best life mean? In your context that you just said it means you don't want your kids. Your kids are holding you back from living your best life. I really do. I feel sorry for these little kids in these situations. Because, I mean, a lot of them have no home life, no structure, and, you know, basically no chance at, you know, thriving in a civil society when they've got a mama that says some crap like that. She might as well just walk up to him and go, I don't want you. I never wanted you. I don't want you. And I wish your daddy would come get you so I can go ahead and live a good life. You're holding me back from living a good life. How sad is that? Sad and sick. But, you know, it's back to the whole thing about Democrats not caring about people. And they don't care about anything but their agenda and their power. So they use people like this. They've gotten these people addicted to government. And they control them. The Democrat Party controls, and I'm not just talking about black people. There are all kinds of people on government assistance. As a matter of fact, I had a chart. Yeah. Here it go. It says, any welfare used by households, native-born Americans, 39%, naturalized citizens, 52%, and non-citizens, 59%. So that means that 59% of non-citizens, 59% of those households that belong to non-citizens are on welfare. Percentage of U.S. households receiving SNAP benefits. The number one group, Afghanis living in America. Somalis, Iraqis, Dominican, Caribbean, Native Americans, not meaning American Indians, but meaning people who were born in America. You got to go all the way down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th place to where American benefits are going to natural born Americans. You know what's even worse is that up here in these top groups, let's say like number 2, Somalians spend, not all of them, but a great percentage of them spend a lot of time downgrading America, talking crap about America, and trying to get American culture changed to their culture. So these Democrats don't care what they do to people as long as they have power. That's it. As long as they have power. Now, here's the thing about the auto pen. Now, we've known for a long time that Joe Biden wasn't really running the country. I thought he never was going to be running the country. I figured people like Susan Rice and Obama and all of that bunch would be, pulling the strings. But what we saw was that Biden was not just a puppet. He was out of it. He didn't even know what was going on. And that was hard to tell from the beginning, I will say, because Biden has always been stupid. Like, even when he was young, he was the king of the gaffes. He would always say the wrong thing. He was always just a, loudmouth, just stupid. The famous quote from Obama, never underestimate Joe's power to F something up. So this is an article on Breitbart. It says, House Oversight Committee Tuesday urged the Justice Department to investigate executive actions taken by President Joe Biden's administration, stating that some orders were issued without his explicit approval. The committee said it found evidence that several executive actions the former president ostensibly took, which include presidential pardons and commutations, were not personally approved by the 46th president. The report alleged that Biden's aides may have used the presidential auto pen, a mechanical device that replicates signatures, to sign off on some of these actions without his knowledge. Now, the auto pen is really supposed to be used for things like when, kids send letters to the president, and he writes them back, and then his staff will use that to sign it, the letter back to the kids or whatever. It's not supposed to be used for pardons and commutations and things like that. Unless you're a Democrat, you have no scruples. It said the committee deems those actions taken through use of the auto pen as void. The House Oversight Report found, adding that it finds numerous executive actions, particularly clemency actions, taken during the Biden administration were illegitimate. Now, does that mean that all of the pardons and everything that came from Joe Biden and the auto pen, they can go back and put those people back in jail? This is, this is illegitimate. This is null and void. This didn't come from the president, so you are no longer pardoned. I don't know. It's a mess. And it's a mess because Democrats were in charge of it. We cannot trust Democrats to be in charge of anything, ever. They are no good. They're no good. But this is a prime example of the way Democrats neglect merit in order to pick the candidates that they can just sit in the office as a puppet, because they knew that Joe Biden wasn't going to be making any presidential decisions. Joe Biden was not the president. He didn't do anything presidential. All of the little Marxists behind the scenes did it. I mean, you could look at Joe Biden when he was elected and know that he wasn't going to be doing anything presidential. I mean, the man, he got worse, through the 4 years, but even in the beginning, the man could barely walk. He was talking out of his head all the time. There's no way he was going to be able to do anything even remotely as part of the presidential duties. And that's the way it's going to be from here on out. It's a shadow government. That's what Democrats do. They run a shadow government. Do you think for 1 second that they believe that Sandy Cortez could be presidential? Hell no. They don't. They know that she's a goofy, just, herky-jerky nerd. But they've pumped her up so much. And she's just, just as good as any other Democrat. And that's what I'm trying to tell people. Even though we know that she's stupid and way out of her league, so do the Democrats that put her out front. They know that. Do you think these Marxists behind the scenes want a candidate that might disagree with them and give them some blowback when they try to say, here, president, you need to do this, this, and this? And they're not going to want a president that goes, oh, no, that's not a good decision. That's going to blow up in our faces. They don't want that. They want somebody that's stupid or senile, as we saw with Joe Biden, that'll go along with everything that the Marxist minions tell them to do. Now, if you say that's extreme, then look at the evidence. Look what just happened in the Biden administration. That's why you'll never hear me say, well, President Biden did this, this, and this, and this. I never do. I'll say the Biden administration did this. Like the Biden administration opened up the borders to millions and millions of illegal aliens and violent criminals. I'll never say Joe Biden did it because I know he didn't. Joe Biden, I mean, he barely even knew whether or not his pants were on when he walked on camera. And he's an old pervert and everything. You know, they had people guarding him all the time, just making sure that he didn't tip people off as to the fact that he wasn't capable of running the country. And the only reason that they brought Kamala in the way they did was because it was too obvious after that debate that Biden did not have the faculties about himself to be able to run the United States of America. And they had to sweep him out of there. And then what did they do? Look at that. What did they do? They grabbed somebody who is a drunken idiot and they threw her out there to the wolves and just let her just take all the abuse from people who could tell that she's an idiot. She took all the abuse. They're behind the scenes. They're protected, but they keep pushing her out. You're the one. You're the one. You're the one. And if she would have gotten elected, even though Biden was senile, she would have done about the same amount of presidency that he did. None. She would have been doing what the Marxist minions behind the scenes were telling her to do. And I think still that was Obama. Obama and Susan Rice and all of those people. You know, there's some Marxist communists from way back. That Susan Rice is diabolical, even for a Democrat. She's awful, terrible. All right, so that's what we can expect for Democrat candidates. We can expect that the Democrat nominee for president is going to be inept, unqualified, and probably downright stupid. But the Marxist minions behind the scenes will be able to control him or her. And they will run the country. It's not hard. Well, it's not hard to figure out. It's hard to run the country, to do it right. But it's not hard to figure out. Hang on, we got more coming up next. Welcome back to the TJ Ritchie Show. Pinpoint political and cultural analysis delivered with wit and Southern charm. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you. All right, there's a little controversy going on here in my area of North Carolina. I live in the Charlotte area, in a suburb, not in a big dangerous city. Hell with that. No, thank you. This was actually on Libs of TikTok, so it made the national news. It says, this is a pediatrician in Atrium Health in North Carolina. I think this is the Concord office. Yeah. This is a man pretending to be a woman, and this information is apparently not shared with patients before scheduling. They also allegedly inform patients that they're seeing a quote unquote female doctor when they schedule with him. All right, so this is a complaint from someone that said, it would be nice to know this provider is a male before scheduling an appointment for my child. It's a pediatrician. This is a transgender doctor, and upon scheduling my child's appointment, I was told he would be seeing a female, which is actually a male. Is it not a violation of patient rights? and for those patients who are victims of abuse and may be triggered by a male exam. This information needs to be disclosed before scheduling an appointment, especially with pediatric patients. Oh, man. Let me tell you something. Not only should, and I'll put it this way, they should not have to tell patients that the doctor is a man pretending to be a woman. They shouldn't have to disclose that to the patients before they show up, because they shouldn't be allowing a man pretending to be a woman to be a doctor in their hospital. It shouldn't even be an issue, because a man pretending to be a woman is in need of a doctor himself, because he's crazy. Hello? Man, are you kidding me? You got a person with obvious mental issues, and you are not disclosing that to the parents of children who need a doctor. What? Again, this is alleged. Not saying this is the way it happened, but I'm just telling you, if it did happen, this is the way it should be. I wouldn't trust somebody who thinks that he is a woman and pretends to be a woman. I wouldn't trust that person to tell me how to get across the street, because their mind doesn't work correctly. You see what I'm saying? Much less go to a pediatrician with a child, and the doctor walks in and introduces himself as Dr. Linda, wearing women's clothes and trying to look like a woman, wearing a woman costume, woman face. Hell no. I don't cause a scene in places. I really don't. I'm not one of those type people. If something goes wrong with service, or I'm not getting the service that I'm paying for or something, I don't throw a fit. I don't demand things. I'll just say, all right, well, give me my money back and I'm going to go. I don't cause a scene. But I used to take my kids to the doctor all the time. I'm one of those dads. I knew about ear infections. I knew antibiotics they had been on in the past. I knew all of this stuff. So there were times when my wife was with one of our children who was sick, and I would have to take the other one to the doctor. And if I'm waiting in a doctor's office, a pediatrician's office, with my little baby, and the doctor walks in and it's a man dressed like a woman, I am going to cuss everybody in there. I will throw the biggest tantrum you've ever seen. I will call them out. I will make sure that everybody in that lobby knows that I'm dealing with insanity. Are you kidding me? Get the hell out of here. Now, I wouldn't attack the person. I wouldn't be, physically abusive to the person. But the person needs help. And anybody who puts that person out as a pediatrician and claims that person is a woman when he's not, that's unprofessional, to say the least. That is unacceptable. It's unprofessional. If this happened that way, if allegedly. All right, let's get to some of these audio clips because I got them, so we're going to use them. Now, this is a long clip, and this is a pathetic, weak-minded shell of a man. He is almost to the Canadian border because he's fleeing America. And I don't have to tell you why he thinks America needs to be fleeing or fleed. Listen.
Well, here we are. It's Friday, and we are just literally minutes away from the border to Canada as we flee the U.S. Who would have thought at age 60 that this would be our day and our plan and our actions?
Okay, credit where credit is due. He's a nut, but he doesn't look 60. He looks younger than 60. So I always try to find something positive to say. All right, here we go.
And I know fleeing sounds dramatic and like something from a movie, but it's really true. We just feel so scrutinized and so silenced and so being portrayed as enemies within and being portrayed as domestic terrorists because we're standing up for what we believe in this country and what.
Okay. Now, I haven't listened to this whole thing. We're listening to some of it together because it is so long, and I may not even get to the end of it. But we're probably in agreement, right, that he sounds gay. So he's trying to make it out like Trump has demonized gay people and he doesn't feel safe anymore. I'm assuming that it may come out in the clip later that he's not gay, but right, you're thinking it, right? You're thinking he's gay and he thinks Trump's out to get all gays. Okay, here we go.
He believe is being violated and is going into an authoritarian regime, and is in it actually, and has been since he hit the ground running in January, the day he was inaugurated. It's really frightening and it's really unsettling, and there's just no peace in that. The folks that follow him and voted for him are just being barraged with this indoctrination by this cult of personality to believe through just repeated messaging that Democrats are the enemy within, his words, that all Democrats across the board are domestic terrorists.
Those are not his words. Trump has never said that. He did say they're the enemy from within because they are. They're rotten. And you are stupid and gullible and naive and weak. To be a Democrat in 2025, remember, these are my words. My words. If you're a Democrat in 2025, you are either gullible and naive, or you're crooked, shady, and a liar. My words. Here we go.
Again, his words, that this straw man that they're building with Antifa to give them something to be outraged about, that they feel they need to take up some sort of vigilantism to seek out and seek retribution on their own.
Okay, this is a serious question. All of these people, like Jimmy Kimmel, I know he's full of crap. he doesn't really believe that there's no such thing as Antifa. His daddies in the Democrat Party higher ups told him to say that, so he said it. But these other people that really believe, like this clown, this scared, weak little clown, he truly believes that there's no Antifa, that Antifa is not what Trump says they are. They're not a terrorist organization. So somebody please ask them, well, explain all of the riots and the violence and the destruction from all these people, these skinny little weak turds dressed in black with their faces covered, all these little spoiled white rich kids acting violently as a big group, but one-on-one they'd probably get their asses kicked every day. How do you explain that group calling itself Antifa, that there is plenty of video proof of them destroying and burning and pillaging and attacking and doing all that other stuff from, before 2020 up until now? How do you explain that? What are those people doing and who are they? Because they called themselves Antifa. You see what I mean? How is this? Because this is one of the naive and gullible people. I don't think this guy is diabolical and just trying to lie to people to maintain control over them like regular diabolical Democrats are. This is one of the brainwashed. So what does he think those people dressed in black and attacking people and burning down cities, what does he think they are? It's just ridiculous. Okay, here we go.
It's just whipping up this frenzy of hatred, just like 80 years ago in Germany in the 40s, when
here we go.
The authoritarian regime there and their leader were messaging out the same things about how races within their country were the enemy within, were animals, were rats.
When has Trump ever said that any race was an enemy from within and that they're rats? When has Trump, are those his words as well? Hell no, they're not. See, now I'm starting to change my opinion of this guy. Now I think he's just a liar. And he knows he's lying. Okay.
Needed to be exterminated. Just like this guy said a few weeks ago that Democrats were just a bug on our shoulder that just needs to be squashed and swatted away. There's so many parallels in history that are being seen all over again. And who would have thought here in the 21st century, years, hundreds of years after a civil war, after fighting for freedom in the 1940s and the 1950s to keep authoritarian regimes like this out of our country and off of our soil, that somebody would rise up from within our country with no political experience and whip up this frenzy of ego and power to try to,
come on, get on with it.
Again, divisively create this enemy.
How much political experience do you think Barack Obama had when he was elected president, you clown? How much? He was a community organizer, which means that he was a street Marxist, rabble rouser, as they used to say. Then he got elected to alderman, and then quickly got elected to, say, state senator. Then, because he did something crooked and had his opponent's court records unsealed right before the election, which was illegal, he got elected, and then before his first term was even up, he was elected president. He never ran a business like Trump. He never did anything. Sit around smoking Newports and snorting cocaine is what he did. Okay, I don't know how much more I can stand of this. There's about a minute left of it. Let's see if we can do it.
Is anti-Christian because that's a real trigger, and that's a real knee-jerk to a lot of his followers. That they're trying to destroy us, and they're trying to destroy our values. When you look at it, and they're destroying the values and their actions because of who they are. Anyway, here we are. It finds us crossing over into Canada for a few.
Go! Shut up and go! Don't you have a border to cross? Get your ass over. Go. Sniveling little weak people like that just make my skin crawl. And he's wrong about everything. But I'm glad he's gone. Go. You're perfect for Canada. Wait until the Canadian authorities show up trying to talk you into killing yourself. See what kind of authoritarian regime that is. So you got somebody like Trump. Well, first of all, if Trump was an authoritarian, do you think your little comments would be allowed to come out of your face hole without your being killed by the government? You think you would have the freedom to speak out against our leader with lies and deception like you just did? Mr. 60-year-old fleeing America. I say go. Go. Be a Canadian. You'll fit in just fine. You'll be just dandy. Bye. All right. Let's do one more segment. We'll get to it next. Hey, it's the TJ Ritchie Show. Unapologetic conservatism right up in your face. That's what it is. Okay. So I have one more audio clip to play. And this is a sheriff in California who is basically telling the media at a press conference that that foreigners and illegal aliens in general are voting in our elections. No matter how much the Democrats try to deny that that's not what they want, and it's illegal for foreigners to vote and all of this, and it's not happening, and this guy says, well, it is happening, and this is how it happens. Now, he may be run out of California by the time this airs. They may have kicked him out of the state, but regardless, this is what he said while he was still okay.
The way the voting system is structured, we see quite a few flaws. You're able to register and cast a vote if you don't live in the country, as evident of his brother in Pakistan. And I think we have some evidence of 2 or 3 other people out of the country that voted. Is that correct?
Yeah, approximately 2 or 3 other people out of the country, as well as people residing outside of the district.
Okay. The online voter registration system, it seems to be an honor system. Anybody can put information in there to register to vote. All you have to do is click a box and say that you're not lying, and then you'll get an email from the Secretary of State or something in the mail saying, thank you for registering to vote, and there you are. Once you're on the voter rolls, anytime an election comes around, guess what? You get mailed a ballot, right? You get mailed something to vote. So we found that a little bit problematic.
All you got to do is click a box that says, I'm not lying. Are you lying? Click yes or no. No. Great. Welcome, new voter. Oh, man. I don't understand how people don't get it. The Democrats scream racism when you talk about voter ID. They're always screaming about disenfranchising. If you want to cut early voting down to what it used to be, which was just absentee voting, if you weren't going to be in your area, if you were going to be out of town or something on election day, you could get an absentee ballot and fill it out. But they took that and ran with it. So early voting starts, what is it, like 2 years before the election now, you can start voting. And then mail-in ballots, this crap, they send you a ballot, you mail it back in. Why can people not understand that the reason the Democrats are behind all of these things, and they're so supportive of all these things, and they cry and scream and wail so loudly when Republicans try to fix those things, is because they want to cheat. Democrats cheat at everything. They don't have, these professional Democrats don't have morals of any kind. It's just a giant group of narcissists and psychopaths. I mean, really? If you say that you need to get something from the state with your picture on it that proves you are who you say you are before you're allowed to vote, that's racist, according to the Democrats. Racist. Why? Because they want to cheat. Why do we have voting that starts 2 years before the election? Because it gives them more opportunity to cheat. Why are we just doing the honor system when somebody registers to vote and they say, yeah, I'm an American citizen? Why do we not question that? Because Democrats want to cheat. Did President Trump beat Joe Biden the first time and should have had 2 consecutive stints as president? Did he beat him on the up and up? Yes. Did the Democrats cheat? Absolutely. You know they did, because they always do. They're liars, cheaters, narcissists, psychopaths. Not all Democrats that are just registered Democrats. The regular voters are not necessarily those things, but the professional Democrats are. And more proof gets exposed every day. I just go ahead and jump out with this hot take. Democrats are everything that I say they are. I'm not going to say they're everything Republicans say they are, because there are a lot of Republicans that won't say what I'll say. But whatever I tell you about Democrats, you can rest assured that it's true. When we're talking about the psychological makeup of a professional Democrat, I know what I'm talking about. Not flexing, just telling you it's a gift that I have. Oh, man. All right. So you probably got more material in this podcast than you would normally get just from my radio show being posted as a podcast. So I'm going to do this pretty much every time they kick me off the air. I'm going to do material as a podcast. So make sure that you are constantly checking all of my social sites and all of that. And YouTube is about to start having all the videos. About to start getting all of those up of my, this show, the TJ Ritchie Show. So thank you very much for listening and watching and doing what you do. God loves you, and there ain't nothing you can do about it.